the younger version of me like needed to move my body all the time. And then when I went through perimenopause, it was the first time my brain was like, you need to go move your body. And then my body was like, no, there's nothing in here right now that wants to exercise. And so somewhere in my mid 40s was the first time I really had a realization that it's hard when your brain says no and you know you're supposed to exercise, but nothing in you wants to. So can we start with, what do you think the biggest hurdle is to people's mindset when it comes to exercise?
Oh, it's hard to land on one. I mean, I think there's hurdles around exactly what you're talking about in terms of the physiology of it, right? We're getting over the hurdle of inertia, and it's kind of nuanced. Sometimes we do need to listen to our body and pull back and rest and do, maybe it's not exercise that your body is craving, but it's movement. And those are two different things, right? So, or exercise is one component of a moving body. Maybe you need a slow walk outside that's not exercise, but is getting your body connected to nature, connected back to yourself, getting a little mental break. So one barrier can be just our belief systems about what constitutes exercise, how our head gets in the way of what is actually effective in our lives and what our body needs. But gosh, there's so many environmental barriers that are there as well, just our lifestyle that are blocking us. And then there is our emotional barriers, which I'm also really interested in, because when you talk about me as a kid versus me as a 20-year-old versus me as a 40, 50, 60, 70 and beyond, there's different emotional and sort of affective processes that are going on during those time periods that influence our movement.
So it's interesting you bring that up, because one of the things I always taught people when I was coaching them one-on-one, and I've been recently diving into this with my membership group, is that there's this interesting journey we go on with health where we hit a moment in our life where we're like, I don't really love living in my body. I need to make some changes. And then we have a really clear idea of where we're going, what we're doing. But the gap in between there is where we get lost. The gap between, I know I need to change and I want a new result. That is what I see is like a sand trap for a lot of people. And what I'm hearing you say is that that's emotional. That's that's an emotional gap.
I think there's 6 things in that gap. And we often think it's just motivation. We just think I'm not motivated enough. And if I get more motivated, then I'll be able to cross over this hurdle. But when we look at the science of psychology, the sort of the modern psychological science, there's 6 processes or 6 things that are going on inside our psychology. One is motivation for sure, but there's also feelings, so maybe for some people that gap is shame. They can't bridge the gap because they have shame around where their body is. They don't want to go out in public. They don't want to go to an exercise class. They don't even want to go for a walk with their friends because they don't want to show up and have that sense of comparison or competition. So emotions, yes, are a big part of it. Maybe you're going through grief. Grief is like carrying around lead bricks. Certainly the older we get, the more grief we have, right? It's just sort of the nature of growing older. So emotions are part of it. Then there's our thoughts, which can be a big thing that can be a gap. And our thoughts include mental rules. Our thoughts include, I just don't want to. Our thoughts include this forecasting of how hard it's going to be. We kind of put that out there like it's going to be painful. So we have feelings, we have thoughts. We also have our sense of self. Folks won't exercise or won't bridge that gap because they say things like, I'm not a runner, or I'm not the type of person who, or I've never been an athlete, or I'm a grinder at work and I need to get my work done. So that's a big barrier. Is your who you think you are and who you think you aren't. Your sense of self is a factor. And then we also have our attention, our inability to be in the present moment, and our attention being scattered all over the place. And that's it. That can be, you may have the best intentions, but really poor attention. So you can't get from where you are to where you want to go.
Yep.
And then the last one has to do really with our ability to kind of like take perspective on ourselves and our life in the long run. To be able to think down the road when I'm at the end of the day or the end of the week, will I feel like I'm more who I want to be, showing up in my life that I want to in a way that I've shown up if I have moved my body today?
Your future self.
Your future self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big one. That my future self gets me through those tough days a lot, where I'm like, well, the today's self doesn't really feel like doing this, but the future self would really appreciate if I get up and move my body. And that has been a little trick that has worked for me, is to remind myself that it's not just today version of me, but tomorrow is also a great way to get me going. So
yeah. So then you add to that trick by saying, oh, thank you, past self.
Yeah.
Not only do you think about our future self, but we acknowledge and say thank you to our past self for setting us up for today.
Yeah.
You know, like my past self that put all my little supplements in the little container and, you know, like, thank you, past self. You made it so easy for me to take my supplements at lunch. I really appreciate her.
Oh my God, I love that. I've never thought to go back and like thank my past self. That's a really good one. Yeah, you got to like work with her. Oh my God, I love that.